Hi from the Cannon Academy Homeschool. I am a homeschooling grandmother, and today I want to go over happenings for the week of Labor Day week, September 2nd through September 6th, 2024. So it was actually a very short week for us, not just because of Monday being a holiday, but because on Tuesday the 3rd, I actually had an immunotherapy treatment, and it ran a little bit long because even though I thought I had been drinking enough water and everything, I was a little dehydrated. Plus, I had a nurse who has proven every time I've had her that she's not really good at getting an IV started, and she tried several times. Resulting in this, you can see it, before she called for help, and that person was able to get it first time. Because before they do my immunotherapy, they have to do a blood draw and see what my numbers are and everything. And they also keep track of my kidney function because I have one kidney, as the other was removed due to cancer. And this is my third bout with cancer. I had breast cancer, the kidney cancer, which both of those were removed, and now I have adrenal gland cancer in both adrenal glands. That being said, there's another family member who is dealing with cancer too. Recently they went through a couple different operations, and that was removed, and I'm pleased to say that they no longer have an ileostomy or an ostomy, and they are doing well, and so am I, for as a matter of fact. Last summer was horrendous and everything. I had a gallbladder removed, and I was deathly ill most of the summer, and in and out of the hospital a lot. But here we are. I've learned to be a little bit better about doing our schedule for the year, which we do homeschool year round because the parents of the kids that I homeschool, my sons and my oldest granddaughters, they both work. So homeschool 3 right now. So that being said, my youngest granddaughter also had an eye appointment at Riley. So before I went to my appointment, I had my grandson, and we did some work from his math binder, and he read to me from his Again Basic Vintage Reader. It was Finding New Neighbors, or was it? No, I'm sorry. It was Are We Neighbors? He has moved up since then to the second semester, third grade book in that series called Finding Friends Far and Near. And my great-grandson has moved up to the first third grade reader called Finding New Neighbors. And my youngest granddaughter, who can read at 5th and 6th grade level, has moved up to the 5th grade book, Trails to Treasure. That being said, those are their favorite books and everything. So after my treatment, I got back before pickup time. My husband watches 2 of them when I have my treatments, and the third one, my great-grandson, he stays home and does work from workbooks he has at home. So I worked with my youngest granddaughter, and she read to me from her book and did a couple of math pages before their pickup time. So on Wednesday, I thought I was going to have all 3 of them, so I had listed what they were going to do for the day, but my daughter decided to borrow the 2 grandchildren for the day. She's doing that so they can all get to know each other better, because there was some concern for a while that my son might not have a long time to live, but like I said, he's doing much better now. but she still borrows them on her days off. She is a librarian. So I sent Hooked on Phonics booklet number 23, The First Ice Cream Cone, which is nonfiction, and with my grandson. And with my granddaughter, I sent Hooked on Phonics number 35 for 100 years. I'm sorry, I can't read my handwriting, so I don't know what the first word of that title is, but it's nonfiction. Then they both had work pages I sent. Each child has a math binder, a language arts binder, and a reading comprehension binder. And I take work pages from current workbooks as well as past workbooks that we didn't finish, and I hole punch them and put them in their workbooks. If they can figure out a page, they're welcome to work it on their own, but I usually have them work out of one of these binders at least once or twice a week. So that being said, I will show you what Hooked on Phonics looks like here in just a few minutes. This week, my oldest granddaughter brought her son to school before she started her work day. She works from home, and she brought her youngest with her. He's 3, and it doesn't look like I'm getting him anytime soon. But while he was here, we had our front door open, and he asked what the door behind it was, and I told him it was a closet. And my husband jumps in and says, "Oh, that's where the monsters live." And he thought he'd go, "Ooh," but you know, kids today, they watch things that the rest of us didn't watch at that age. And so he kind of rolls his eyes and looks at my husband and says, "Do you know who Michael Myers is? He's a monster." And he did it with a straight face, which I thought was adorable for a 3-year-old. I mean, back in the day, I wouldn't have thought a 3-year-old knew who that was, but in today's society, that's okay. So, that being said, that took care of our Wednesday. I worked with my great-grandson, and he did the Hooked on Phonics number 24, which was on the tip of her nose, fiction, and he did several work math pages. A lot of them he picked were geometric patterns, where you have to finish the patterns. One was a coloring page with different patterns, and you had to count how many triangles and squares and things were on the page. And they kind of overlapped. So he enjoyed that. Thursday was a more normal day, and that's when they all moved up to their new readers. As I mentioned before, they're again basic readers. They're vintage from the 1960s. I do have Houghton Mifflin, more modern readers, and they do pick those up and read from them, but they do not like to read to me from them. They like to read these other stories. They're shorter stories. They're broke down in chapters. They're easy to read, and I also find out what new words they have learned on their own. So that being said, there was the youngest grandson. He then read number 24 from Hooked on Phonics on the tip of her nose. The great-grandson read What Are Tales For, which was nonfiction. And the granddaughter read number 35, which was Spaceship Earth, which was fiction. And basically, hers kind of told why you could consider Earth being a spaceship, because it's all on its own. It travels through space. We have food, water, supplies, things like that. What Are Tales For explain how different animals used their tails and things like that to warn other animals of danger, to talk, to obtain food, to defend themselves, things like that. On the tip of her nose, to go back, was about a little girl who went to the store for her mother. She had a piece of tape on her nose, and everybody wanted to know what was it for and stuff, and she finally answered and told them it was because her mother said she could. So there you have it. The other book that was about hundreds of years, I cannot really remember what that was about, so must not have been too interesting to me. They worked out Calvert math books, which are hardback textbooks that I was able to purchase off of eBay. I've been gathering those up for years now. I did have kindergarten and first grade, but they're more or less paperback, and I kind of took them apart, made copies, had the boys finish them up back when they were doing kindergarten, first grade. Those are rather expensive to get these days. Second through 8th grade can be expensive, but if you shop at hard on eBay, you can get those. I like them better. We tried Spectrum workbooks. The kids did not like them. We tried Life Pack. They didn't especially like that. I found out it was dragging, and we were mostly doing addition and subtraction over and over and never getting to the fractions and geometry and time, money, things like that. So I tore those out, punched them, put them in their math binders, and we moved on to Calvert. I really like Calvert. That being said, the boys are both in 3rd grade Calvert, and the granddaughter's doing 4th grade Calvert. Science, on Thursday we did, from my first book of knowledge, we did Prehistoric Life, and the next time we do it, this upcoming week, will be Weather. And they're just like 2 pages long. It's just short and sweet. We did 180 days last year, and I do still have 180 days for science and for social studies. But I'm going to try it using some of the nonfiction books I have on my shelves and some of the history books I also have on my shelves. So that was it, except for Spanish, which we're using Complete Book of Spanish grades 1 through 3. And we did go out and check the garden that we have. We pulled up some carrots and things like that, and transplanted some of them. And we also had the grand dog, he's a greyhound named Al. Then on Friday we did more Calvert math. The boys are actually doing numbers greater than 100,000, and that's only like lesson 4. It's called 1.4, lesson 1, or I guess it'd be like unit 1, lesson 4, but they call it L 1.4. And then the granddaughter in her book, she's doing comparing and ordering numbers and things like that. And we did fitness flashes, V-sits, which are 30 seconds of exercise break. We do that from time to time. And then they all read from their new readers. I did history from my first book of knowledge. We did math skills, and then we also learned about Canada and Alaska. And there are maps that show the mountains in those places, ice, different kinds of trees, animals, things like that, if there's any mining in the area, lumber, things like that. We played 4 games of Twister, I should say, to learn how to follow directions and remember left from right, because they tend to forget sometimes. We did Calvert script for cursive, which I will show you in a minute. And we also did Smiling Hill Farm. I read 2 chapters. It was, and then they drew in their journals and wrote a couple of sentences about what I had read in Smiling Hill. My granddaughter, while she was reading to me earlier in the day, the sirens went off for storm drills, air raid drills, what have you, and she shouts out, "It must be 11 o'clock, the sirens are going off," and then she continued to read, and she didn't skip a beat. Also, we did look and do exercises, which are 5x7 cards with pictures of kids on them doing jumping jacks, toe touches, and various other forms of exercises. And I see that I am out of time, so I'm going to do another video, and I will show you the Hooked on Phonics things and the Calvert script, and it'll be a really short video, I promise. I'm not able to do more than 15 minutes right now because I haven't posted enough videos yet or had enough subscribers. So please hit like, feel free to share, and from the Canon Academy Homeschool, until next time, also subscribe if you'd like to get a notice of my post. Thank you. Bye.